Samson for staying a little longer for this recording. That was so awesome. Thank you for bringing Crystal over and.
You're welcome. She was happy to do it. She actually used to be a teacher as well, so.
Yes, I forgot to ask her about that, but wow, you guys are opening up my mind so much. I wanted to know about I wanted to ask you about what to do to make this world a better place. Can you mention the name of that movie again? And maybe in what we're doing right now, you know, as far as living inside, but you know, one of the things that I'm worried about my children not getting fresh air or getting the sunlight, which we can still go outside and we do that, we do.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people who live in apartment buildings and may not, you know, like what can people do to stay healthy inside? I guess that's what I
mean, you can definitely open your windows or open your blinds. Make sure you're getting some sunlight because that's been linked to being happier and, you know, the vitamin D and the benefits. So even if you just have your blinds open and you're getting sunlight through the windows, that's fine. That's a good thing to do if you can't go outside. And then making sure you're staying active because that's linked to a lot of the hormones and things. And so making sure that you are exercising, you can make it fun. There's all kinds of free classes online and everything.
Yes, there is. Mm-hmm.
Moving around and, you know, not just sitting down all day would be good for people. And then I think you have time now. Eating healthy.
Now we do. Yeah, but people are doing, you know, we started doing that and we're like, wait a minute, we don't even do this, you know, watching TV. Like, we don't even do this while they're in school. Why is the TV on? And so that woke us up. Like, oh, because they're here. Like, oh, no. So we limit TV after 5 p.m. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday after 5 p.m. Like, those are
that's a good
binge afterwards, you know? So limiting our TV is definitely something that, unless television is being used for educational purposes, you know, not entertainment. It could be still entertainment.
Right, and definitely that's a good policy.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think too many kids right now are watching TV all day, and I think that's horrible for their brains. But like playing games, doing creative things, drawing, painting. I guess a lot of people are doing that because Arthur tried to go buy paint the other day and it was all sold out. But definitely using your creative side or reading and figuring out what you're actually interested in. Like students, I think, could take advantage of this time to do that and explore different options. Like I sent out websites, which is still, you know, on technology, but at least they could be doing something educational and helpful to their life instead of just, you know, watching silly videos.
Can you remind me of that movie that you...
So I showed The Vanishing, which is a 3-part series, and that one talked about elephants, and then it talked about the coral reefs and the rainforest, and it has some great examples of how we can see organisms vanishing right now, like frogs, amphibians. Amphibians are doing very poorly right now because their skin is porous, so they can absorb pollution and things through their skin. And so they're really struggling, and humans brought the chytrid virus, a fungus virus, by traveling to different places to them, and it's killing their populations. And so frogs are one that could go extinct very soon. We've seen a lot of frog species, like the golden toad and things. They've already gone extinct. But then looking at, as a whole, if amphibians, the class, like all amphibians, like frogs, salamanders, newts, if they die out, we're concerned about what will happen to the whole system. And so, because they're very important in ecology and in food webs and food chains. It's called, I'm looking at the trailer right now, Racing Extinction, that's what it is.
Racing Extinction. I think that's the name of the movie. Mm-hmm.
Racing Extinction is a good one. So with that one, it shows all the extinctions that are happening because humans are right now causing the sixth mass extinction on Earth. So there was 5 mass extinctions in the past. Everyone knows the most famous one that killed the dinosaurs. But humans are causing a mass extinction event right now because we're causing, like, the extinction rate, its normal rate, we've basically caused it to be 400 times faster than normal. So we are losing roughly like 3 species a day if you include, things that people don't think about, like insects or plants or fungi, or frog. So we're losing so many species on Earth, and so scientists are worried, what's that going to do? Because food webs and everything are connected. So maybe if you have, let's say in an area, 200 species and you lose 2, food web might be okay. But if you lose 50, at what point does it hit that critical number that the food webs just fall apart? And so that's what scientists are worried about in a lot of areas, especially in the ocean, because in the ocean we basically destroyed the ocean. We have so much pollution in the ocean. There's more plastic now in the ocean than there is plankton. And plankton is the bottom of the food web in the ocean. Like plankton, there should be more plankton than anything else in the ocean. And it's the bottom of all the food chains and food webs in the ocean. And the fact that now plastic, there's about 20-something more times plastic in the ocean now than there is plankton. And so we're seeing this because it's building up in fish, it's building up in birds. Like when you dissect a bird, I think it showed that in part of that video. When we dissect birds, we're finding all this plastic in them. When we dissect fish, we're finding plastic in them. And plastic is something that doesn't break down. Like it'll get smaller and smaller until it's microscopic, like the size of plankton, but it's still there. And so it's building up in all these organisms. It's going into our food chain. Like if you buy fish, and then it's not just staying there because water travels everywhere. So it's getting into our food supplies. And plastic is something that, another bad characteristic about plastic. Like first of all, making plastic isn't even good because it's a petroleum, it's an oil product. So plastic in general, making it is horrible for the environment. And then it sticks around. It's really easy for viruses and bacteria to stick to plastic. And so we got viruses and bacteria and everything sticking to the plastic, and then getting into animals, and then getting to where we eat it. So what are we really eating at this point? What are you putting in your body? And you can't really help it anymore because basically at this point everything's contaminated. Unless you buy organic everything, you're eating something that's got to have some degree of pollution. And
wow, it's not just GMO that we have to worry about. You're saying pollution because we're throwing plastic in the ocean.
Mm-hmm. And then, so it's not just the plastic. I mean, plastic is horrible in itself, and it's hurting the food webs and food chains and killing several animals all the time. Like for instance, because I used to run a environmental club at Northview High School, and we made reusable bags that people could buy instead of using plastic bags. That's one of the worst things. I hate when I see plastic bags. Like in Europe, they don't even allow it. Like you have to have reusable bags. In Europe, there are no plastic bags. So I commend other countries that have taken the initiative to ban plastic bags. And there's some states that have done it. Like if you go to Hawaii, no plastic bags. You have to.
I live in California, and there's no, in at least Los Angeles, there were no plastic bags. We had to come in.
It was like that everywhere. I wish it was like that everywhere. But people, I guess, like convenience and everything. But it's just, there's that, and then there's the plastic pollution, which has so many problems that come along with it besides hurting the environment. Like they say recycling 1 ton of plastic saves 10,000 marine animals. 10,000. So if people could just quit using all these easy plastic conveniences, like I hate seeing plastic water bottles. That's another thing I told the students, like buy a reusable bottle. They always saw me with mine. Like, don't.
We have reusable bottles. We've done that, and we also, it might be coming from California, but to tell you the truth, we're not perfect, but we do have our bags in the back of our car. But if we forget, we have taken them, and we do use those plastic. But
So there's that, and then there's also, I mean, just all the industries that we've created, and like the worst industry probably for humans and the earth is coal. Coal is awful. It's the worst power source. Like the coal industry, yeah, like coal to power our houses and stuff. Like the coal industry is the worst because it creates so much air pollution and water pollution. And when you mine coal and everything, it releases really dangerous things like mercury and arsenic. And so when we release all this mercury and it gets in the water, once it gets in the water, it gets in a river, it travels throughout different rivers, so it makes it to the ocean. And we have mercury being built up into our food supply now too. And I mean, they're doing studies, but we don't know what the threshold is for humans, because things like mercury, your body can't break it down. It attaches to your fat, right? And it's in your body. And it's called bioaccumulation. And so if you eat like a fish that had mercury in it, and then you get some mercury in you, we don't know at what point, because we can't just like stick, we can't do real studies on them and poison people, because that'd be bad. So we're just trying to study people that have died from these things. And so we don't have all the long-term data yet. But looking at, at what point where are we going to see potentially a ton of people suddenly get really sick from mercury because they've been eating all this seafood, or they've been eating all these chickens that were contaminated with mercury because they were near a coal plant. And because the mercury is building up in your body, and what scientists have, it's called threshold level, is there's a threshold level. And so I'm just making up numbers right now, but let's say your threshold level is 100 milligrams of mercury. So you've been eating your whole life, you've been eating chickens, you've been eating fish, and you are like 99, and then you hit that 100. Now the mercury, there's enough in your body to make you super sick, because mercury will kill you. And so at what point do we see those threshold levels being reached because of what you've been eating your whole life, and you didn't know that you should be careful? You didn't know that eating pigs or chickens that were near coal plants were probably contaminated. And so you have to be really careful about where you buy your food, but most people don't even think about it. So, I mean, I try to buy, if I'm going to eat meat, I try to buy organic. And then you have to try to make sure, like I will spend, and it is more money, which is a problem, but to buy like free range organic is more expensive. But I'm thinking about in terms of what am I putting in my body? Because if it's not free range, it's not organic, it's pumped full of hormones, it's pumped full of antibiotics. That could be a chicken farm that's like near a coal plant or near coal mining, in which case it's probably been contaminated. So I try to be careful about what I eat and think about where I'm buying stuff from, because we've decimated the oceans at this point. They say we've overfished 90% of the ocean. And so now they have fish farming. So just like they have chickens on a farm, they're doing fish farming. But it's just as horrible as chicken farming, because they're putting all these fish where they can barely swim, but they're in water, right? And then they're not cleaning it very well and stuff. Like a lot of these places are not very well run, just like when you see the horrible videos of chickens that are all stuck together and can barely move, and they grow so fast from the antibiotics that a lot of them can't even walk and things like that. Well, we're doing the same thing to fish. And then you buy the fish at the market and you think, oh, it's a fish. It was in a nice, healthy environment in the ocean. It wasn't. It was in this horrible fish pond with thousands of...
Well, that's why it says grown, farm grown, or...
Right. Farm raised, yeah.
I mean, farm raised, or the other, what's the other, wild caught.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's the difference, but both can potentially have problems. I mean, because at this point, we've pretty much contaminated almost every water source on Earth. So it's it's a matter of looking at where it comes from. Like there's certain places, and like I showed the students before, like I have a little card, and you can look them up online. Like there's links to the Georgia Aquarium. All the aquariums have links to it where you can look at guides to buying fish, and it'll tell you which fish are the most highly polluted and which ones are least polluted, and in your area which ones you should buy and which ones you shouldn't.
Where can I get that?
So if you go to like the Georgia Aquarium, because I got them to give me like 50 of them, and I always let the students look at them. If you go to the Georgia Aquarium and then you look under their like resources, there should be a link, or you could call the Georgia Aquarium, and I bet they would send you the exact link. They're pretty helpful. But
right, thank you.
Yeah, they'll send you it.
It's closed. I don't think Georgia Aquarium is open.
Well, there's people working. There have to be to keep.
We have to take care of the animals.
And that's one I feel really bad for that industry, because I know it's really expensive to go to the aquarium and the zoo, but I worked at a zoo before, and it costs so much money to run a zoo, and then like double that to run an aquarium. And without any visitors, I'm really worried. I hope there's a lot of good rich people out there donating to them, because it takes so much money to have a salt aquarium and to have those massive ones. Because I had a salt aquarium. I took care of a seahorse one year, and it was like the most work ever. But I can't imagine what they're going through right now.
Oh wow!
But, I hope there's a lot of nice donors out there. I gave a donation,
But thank you, Jessica. I want to continue. I don't know if we could do this again. This is fun. You have so much information, and maybe we could do one with the kids. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, people just need to look at where they buy their food, and if they download that resource, that'll help them with fish. And then you can find lots of resources out there about eating better meat if you're gonna eat meat. I mean, the best thing really is to not eat much meat. Like, I don't eat beef or anything. I only eat chicken really and fish. I don't eat beef or pig, like pork or anything really, like very rarely. Because those even have more issues associated with them. So I only stick to pretty much seafood and chicken.
Yeah.
I think that's
But these are great advice, which is the Georgia Aquarium resources to get the best fish. Buy grass-fed meat or organic meat, and organic fruits and vegetables. Use reusable bags instead of plastic, and just do your own water bottle instead of the constantly buying plastic bottles.
Because it's better for you too, because what people also don't know, and just quick thing is the plastic bottles are horrible for the environment, first off, because it takes 3 liters of water to make 1 liter, like a 1 liter plastic bottle. So we waste water making them. So that's bad for the environment. But then also the plastic that's in the water bottles, if you look at them, they have an expiration date. Like water does not expire on its own. The fact that it expires is because the plastic that the water is put in, like your Dasani, whatever, whoever you're buying, what kind of water, the plastic is breaking down over time. And that plastic is going into that water. So you're drinking plastic chemicals. You're drinking it. And that's why they tell you never, like it even says on some of the labels, like, do not leave this in your car. Do not leave. And people, like, I've seen people leave it in their car, like coaches I've seen do it, and I tell them they shouldn't, because they want to have it convenience, like in their cars, like a whole, like, 24-pack or whatever. And that's horrible, because in the sunlight and everything, that plastic's breaking down even faster. And then you're drinking the plastics, and you're drinking chemicals.
You can taste it. I cannot stand it. When I drink it, it tastes like I'm drinking the chemicals. You could taste it.
Right, and so you are. And that's why, like, I don't like them either, because I don't want to drink plastics. But so that's one thing, like, if people, I think, knew also the side effects of drinking it. Because the other thing is plastic water industry, it's not really regulated. Like the water that comes out of your house, your tap water, it's regulated. Like legally, there's all these like chemistry people and everyone hired at water plants, because they have to check the chemistry of the water. I think it's 4 times a day minimum. And so your water is safe. Like that's guaranteed, like a right in the United States. But the bottled water industry is like not regulated at all. Like there's one person back when I watched the documentary, so my information might be a little outdated, but I highly doubt they added more. But there was one person before that regulated all of bottled water industry and was supposedly checking. I don't think that one person checked everything. And so when they did studies on bottled water, they were finding all kinds of bacteria in the bottled water. In one place, they found jet fuel in the water. I mean, they found that, I think it was, well, I don't want to misquote a company's name, but they found one of the biggest companies. Before, it was just taking tap water and putting it in bottles and then selling it to people. So it's not healthier.
I heard that one. I heard about that one.
So people get
we're
sick
buying tap
from it.
water.
Hey, you're buying tap water that hasn't been regulated. It's not necessarily proven safe. A lot of studies they did, it had different bacteria in them, had different substances found in it, and like in some places they even found kids getting sick constantly. They were drinking it because they were always like at sports or whatever, and they finally figured it out, because if a lot of people in an area are getting sick, it's the water. Like that's where they've had classic cases against companies for. But yeah, so I tell people, like, it's not only bad for the environment, it's really bad for your own health to drink bottled water all the time. Like, just buy your own bottle and be safe.
Yes. Yes. Buy your own container. This is for my tea, and now it has my water. So thank you so much, Jessica. I really appreciate that you took the time and you actually did this video for us, for everyone to watch and learn. And I will be talking to you about our next, interview. And thank you so much. Have a good night. God bless you and take care of you as you go to and fro. And I can't wait to hear that other one about how to protect ourselves even more.
Yes, definitely.